Hey, what is going on, guys? My name is James and welcome to the second season of our Minecraft coding tutorials. Today I'm going to be teaching you guys something that's relatively simple. It's making a GUI, and I say simple because I'm not going to be teaching you guys how to make draggable or clickable GUIs. I'll be covering those down the line. Today I'm just going to be showing you guys pretty much how to render your client name on screen, and then you guys can go ahead and experiment with things and make your own GUI. But nevertheless, let's actually get into this. So it's really simple. Pretty much all it is making a class, extending GUI in-game, and then calling it in Minecraft. So let's go ahead and do that now. Let's go ahead and make a new package in our client, and let's name this GUI. .client.gui. Okay, and then let's go ahead and make a new class, and we're just going to name this in-game. You can name it whatever you want, it really doesn't matter, but I'm going to have it extend GUI in-game, and we're going to import it. And then after that, we're going to have to make a constructor. So I'm running Eclipse, so I can have Eclipse auto-generate one for me. If you're not running Eclipse, you can just write it out yourself. It really doesn't take that much effort to write 3 lines of code. But anyway, that's pretty much it for the constructor. After that, we're going to make the actual method that will render our stuff on screen. So we're going to make a public void, and then we're going to name it render game overlay. And yes, you do have to name it exactly like that, otherwise it won't work. After that, we're going to put in some parameters. So let's have a float, a boolean, int I, and int j. You can name the parameters whatever you want, it doesn't matter. But we do need a float, boolean, and an integer, and another integer in that order, because we're actually going to be copying the exact method in GUI in-game. So because we're copying the exact method, we're going to have to put @override, and that will basically override the method in GUI in-game, and it'll pretty much only render this method instead of the method in GUI in-game. Now there's a problem. There's a lot of important stuff in the render game overlay method in GUI in-game. So how are we going to pretty much make it still render whatever's in GUI in-game but still render what we put in this method right here? So that's pretty simple. All we have to do is put super.renderGameOverlay, and then basically what this does is it calls the super class, which is our GUI in-game, because remember, we're extending GUI in-game. So what happens when we extend GUI in-game is this class right here that we're in-game, becomes a subclass of GUI in-game, and GUI in-game becomes our superclass. It sounds confusing, but really it's really simple. So all we're doing is pretty much calling the superclass, which is GUI in-game, and then calling the method renderGameOverlay in GUI in-game. Now notice that these parameters we don't have, so we're going to delete those, and then we're just going to put in our parameters. So f, flag, I, and j. Those are the parameters that we put right here. So we're pretty much assigning the parameters that we've made to the parameters in the method in GUI in-game. And that's pretty much it. Now all we have to do is we can pretty much do whatever we want, really. I can go ahead and make a drawstring. Now notice that I used objects.fr. I didn't directly call font renderer. What we're doing there is we're utilizing the reference that we've made in our objects class. So all I'm doing is I'm calling the objects class and then using the reference fr for font renderer, and that's basically what I'm doing. So let's go ahead and actually render something. So I'm going to call just render client, put in some coordinates and then a color. 6Fs is white, so I'm just going to stick with that. And after that, all we have to do now is call it in minecraft.java so that it can render. Now if you remember from our previous tutorial where we called the client startup, there's a line on top of that that's actually calling the GUI in-game. Now instead of calling GUI in-game, all we have to do is change it so that it calls our GUI class, my class was called in-game, so all I have to do is change it to in-game. Now you may be asking, if I change that, then it's not going to be rendering GUI in-game at all, right? But the thing is, we extended GUI in-game, so it will pretty much render everything that's in this class along with everything that's in GUI in-game because we're extending it. And that's pretty much it. It's actually really simple. I just kind of over-explained a lot. Make sure you import it, and that's about it. Get into a world and I'll show you that it renders. Yep, there we go. It says client on my top left. Now there's a way to make this really simple. All you have to do is pretty much utilize what we've made in our base class right here. Notice that my name is already written down here, the release date, and the Minecraft version. Let's say I want to have all of that written in my stuff right here, in my string. All I have to do is use the getters in order to get the information here and then render that instead. So let's go ahead and do objects client dot get name. Now what that will do is it will get the name of our client, which is client, and then render that. So let's say I also want the version number. So I'm going to actually have a space and then a V for version, plus sign, and then we're going to have objects dot client dot get release. And that's pretty much it. So there we go, client version 1.1. Now let's say I wanted to ever change the version number. All I have to do is change it here, and that's pretty much it. It'll change it here as well, because notice we're using our getter method, and that's pretty much it. All you have to do is change your version number here, and yeah. But anyway guys, I'm sorry about me rambling on for a while. I had to cut out a lot of the video just because I was literally rambling on for so long. But anyway, I will catch you guys in the next tutorial. Thank you for watching, and please leave a like because this took me about 15 billion tries to just get my intro in. But yeah, I will catch you guys later. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
I got a new one for you. I like the way that sounds. I'm about to do it for you. I like to break it down.